Hello, everyone. Okay, we got Megan here that's going to chat with us. But first, I want to share my screen and let's go over some recognition stuff and just quick calendar stuff. So just give us a couple minutes, Megan. Okay, let's see if I can do that. Oh, goodness gracious. Boxes all over the place. Can everybody see my screen? Awesome. Okay, we're going to go over some recognition first of all. So we had a senior silver rank up, Sam. I didn't even look to see if Sam was on here right now, and I can't see anybody else's faces. So, but our one senior silver rank up was Sam. That was huge for her. She just started actually sharing just a couple months ago. So she's done really well. And we had a ton of silver rank ups, you guys. We had Cara Beth, Christy, Jessie, Karen Frings, Katie, Michelle, and Rana. That's huge. Silver is huge. And then these are all our Lululemon earners. So everybody that earned a gift card, and I didn't go through and see who won 1 or 2 gift cards, but I know there was several people that earned 2 gift cards for either developing a silver or adding 6 people. So congratulations, you guys. That's huge. Okay. Just to go over a couple things, obviously tonight is our team call. Our opportunity event is Thursday, and I will share in Rising Jewels a graphic about that too, and I have something coming up about that. Otherwise, we're still doing accountability group and book study. Hannah's team, we're kind of transitioning to a different book now because we finished our first one, so we might do some power hours or we'll start a new book probably pretty soon. And then the end of the month, we're going to do our health and happiness event. Okay. And then you guys have probably seen this too, but every day of March, we're going to have something that's very action-based, and our focus is believing in ourselves. And so we're going to be doing weekly prizes. So do your best to comment on the post each day, and then we'll draw a winner at the end of the week, or at least by Sunday night. I'm not going to go over all these, but there's posts every day. You'll see like a green, it'll say like day 1, day 2, day 3. So just follow along that way. And it's hashtag belief in yourself if you're trying to search for them all. Okay, this is our opportunity event Thursday night. I actually kind of delegated this to Courtney, and she did an awesome job finding these 3 ladies that are going to share their stories. I'm really excited to hear Carly, Danielle, and Carmen talk about, they were all product lovers that kind of transitioned to business builders. So I'm super excited to hear from them. They all have really great stories, and they all come from very different backgrounds, which is really fun to see. Okay. Another thing with March, this is our earning potential this month. You guys, this is huge. Referring 6 people, they can earn $415 and an iPad, you guys. They can also, if you also add 6 people and develop, it can be any rank advancement. You're going to get 2 iPads, or add 12 and you get 2 iPads. So I think this is a really awesome, this could be a big month, you guys. So definitely be refilling your funnels. That's for sure. And then these are just our corporate incentives for this month. So you can add smart snacks to the reset for $15. For us, already customers, adding, we get free Berry Brave if we spend $149 before shipping and tax, until the 15th at least. And then anybody new that orders a welcome pack or $100 or more is also going to get the Berry Brave. And then we just kind of talked about, you can earn the iPad 10 by adding 6, or add, I misspoke before, add 3 and develop, or rank advance, I should say. And there is a code for the Berry Brave. It's March 23, I believe. I think I have that on the calendar too. Okay, and we're still doing the Nashville contest. You guys, Nashville is in June. We still have 2 months left, I believe, of the contest. I don't know, you guys can look on your dashboard and see where your points are. The tracker is up. So it's kind of fun to track that. But yeah, here's the kind of what you can earn. And then this next slide just kind of shows a graphic. If you want to start celebrating your teams, if anybody's won the convention store credits or any of the travel money, that's an exciting thing. So we'll definitely be talking more about that as it continues, because we're about halfway through it already. Okay, we're going to let Megan take over. So I'm super pumped for Megan, because every time I message her, she's like, I'm so pumped. She's just like a huge, bright ray of sunshine. Every time I message her, like, I'm going to stop my share here. So Megan, I never told you this, but when we were at Leaders Retreat last March, I saw you come into like the pool area. I was with my family and you were coming in, I think with your boys, and you were like, you know, super cute in your hat. And you had all the stuff, like pool toys and life jackets and floaties and whatever. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to go up and talk to her and I want to take a picture with her. And then all of a sudden, one of your boys came up and you were like momming hardcore, I think, because he probably ran away from you or something. I don't know. Something happened and you were like totally momming. And I was like, oh, this is a bad time to interrupt and take a picture. So the next time we're at the same place, I'm going to come up and take a picture.
Yes, it's a date. Oh my gosh, please hunt me down and let's make sure that happened. It was probably my youngest because he's my wild child and he probably did take off somewhere.
Take it away, Megan. Share your wisdom.
Okay, awesome. So you guys, I'm so excited to be sharing with you guys this team. I love you all so, so much. And Emily is like literally one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. And so it's such an honor to get to be here with you guys tonight. But before I start inspiring you, I felt like I should share this story about something that literally happened just tonight to me to kind of set the stage that anyone can be successful in Plexus. Okay. I'm one of those people that I like to show you that you don't have to be perfect in order to become a diamond. You can be your regular goofy self and you can still make it all the way to the top. So tonight I was in a meeting. I have made it a point since we moved to a new town. I'm trying to get heavily involved in our community, networking, getting to know people. And so there's this really big fundraiser ball event that they do every year. And so I'm now on the committee. I volunteered myself for that. And so we had a meeting tonight. And these are all people I have literally only met one other time. And I walk in the meeting and I sit down and I had to excuse myself for a second because I was chewing on some mint gum. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen with like chocolate or mint gum. My husband was like, you're a nut. And I've never had that happen. I like swallowed my saliva wrong and I couldn't breathe. And I was like gulping and I'm like fiddling with my cup and I'm like trying to get the lid off. And I was like, and I was like, I had to get up and leave the room so I could go to the bathroom and be like, and I was like gasping for air. And it was so traumatic and absolutely ridiculous. And I was like, I can't believe that just happened. Like, I'm so glad somebody else has had this happen to them before. Cause I was like, what in the world? And then I just, casually like walked back in. I was like, I hope, like, I just bowed out gracefully and came back in. And so I wanted to just kind of lighten the mood and share that with you guys, because sometimes when I really get talking, I can get really intense. And so I was like, I just want everyone to know that like, I'm coming from a place of love. I'm coming from a place of, I have absolutely ridiculous things like that happen to me all of the time. And so just know like that's me, and you have to be able to just kind of laugh at yourself, and do those things. So I am going to share with you guys, I'm going to back it up to before I started Plexus. And so I used to make fun of Plexus. My mom actually made a pact with one of her friends that she would never, ever do Plexus. And so we used to make fun of Alita. Langford is one of our good family friends. And so we actually used to make fun of her. And so eventually, after her late husband passed away, we ended up ordering. Okay. And mind you, our kids were on Medicaid at this time. Like things were going really great in our lives. And then all of a sudden, my husband got unexpectedly let go from his very stable, secure job. And it sent us into a whirlwind of what I call a series of unfortunate events. And so I was 20 weeks pregnant with our second baby when he got the news. It was the week of my best friend's wedding, and it was like catastrophic. Okay. So we went from this like pretty cushy, comfortable life to all of a sudden our kids are in Medicaid and we're making like 30,000 a year. Okay. And so that was a drastic change for us. And so I started doing Plexus, but I had told my husband when we got married that I was never, ever going to work. Like basically that I was allergic to a 9 to 5, that I wasn't cut out for the workforce, and that I was just going to raise babies and stay at home. And I never wanted to have a job. And he was fully supportive of that. He knew what he was getting into when we got married. And that's exactly what I was doing up until Plexus. And so I never, ever saw myself as a working mom. I never wanted to be a working mom. I had all of these limiting beliefs around that you couldn't be a successful businesswoman and a great mom. And so I was like, well, obviously the natural choice is I have to choose being a great mom over an income. And the beautiful thing is that you do not have to choose. This opportunity actually allows you to have the freedom to do both. And so when we started taking the products, I will never forget when it was after I'd been taking it for a little while. And one of my little boys, I have 3 boys. And so one of my little boys, he was like, Mommy, come chase me. And I remember I got up off the couch and I started running after him down the hallway. And I was like, I'm not a runner, you guys. Okay. So I was like, first of all, this is weird. Why am I running? And I haven't had coffee yet. I was like, these products must be doing something, because I normally wouldn't be running in the morning. Like something's got to be wrong here. Right. And so I was just like, oh my goodness, these are working. I'm feeling amazing. I wasn't napping every single afternoon. Like I used to have nap time like clockwork, you guys. And it was like, we would schedule appointments around nap time, and not the kids' nap time. It was for me, because I had my prime napping time where I was crashing every afternoon because my blood sugar was off. And so I'm feeling so much better. I had all this hip pain, foot pain, all this different kind of stuff. And my husband, he's a type 2 diabetic. And so his A1C starts dropping, and we're like, okay, we obviously have to start telling people about this. And so what's hilarious is that I was creeping on the team pages, and I had no intentions of doing the business. I had just started another network marketing business, and I was actually booked for their convention. And a week before Plexus's convention, Alita and Jen get on the phone with me. Mind you, I had just gone silver the month before, and it had taken me 5 months to go silver. Okay. And this was with Alita, like every single month asking me, is this going to be the month? Is this going to be the month? And I politely tell her, no, it's not. It's not going to be the month. So I was not the prime candidate for them to be like pursuing me to go to convention. Okay. I was like the least likely person, because it took me 5 months to find 3 people. Okay. And so they were like, you have to come to Vegas. And I was like, I don't know. They actually even got on a Zoom call with me and Phil, which they're like, we've never done that before. They were like, but we just felt like we had to. And so they had this strong conviction in their heart that like, I needed to go to convention. I'm like, I'm working another company. Like I had been jumping on their team calls because I found it really inspiring about mindset, that I was like, yeah, I'm just still not there. And so I was like, my husband was like, you got to choose. Which one are you going to do? Like you're going, you got to pick one to go all in. And I was like, I really think it's going to be Plexus. And he was like, he told me later on that he thought I made a big mistake, because he knew with this other company, it was like I could dabble in and out, right? And it wasn't a big deal, but he knew if I decided to do Plexus, I was going to have to go all in. And he thought I was not going to stay committed. And so he told me, he said, if you go to convention, you have to make a promise to me that you will stick this out for a year. You have to be committed for a year. You can't just like, kind of try it and then give up and all this kind of stuff. So I canceled my other convention tickets and I booked flights for Vegas a week before. I shared a room with Alita and Lisa and Latoya and I, 4 of us, and my baby. I had a nursing baby and I flew out to Vegas by myself. This was like one of the first steps of like, I'm going to do something really scary, because I believe in myself enough that like, I just know I have to get there. They say I have to be there. I'm going to go there. I mean, our kids were on Medicaid. We didn't have like all of this extra money, but I was like, I just feel like I need to go. And so I'm so glad that I followed that intuition. I'll tell you, it was not easy with a nursing baby. I was up with our time change. I was up at 3:45 in the morning in Vegas. I was walking the hallways that early with him. I was walking the Vegas Strip at 5 a.m. It was rough. I was tired, sharing a room with all these other people. And I'm so glad that I went, because while I was there, that is where my belief was born in plexus. And so I remember standing there in the back, and I had my baby carrier, and I'm like bouncing my little guy. And it was all of the top earners for convention contests that year. And they started sharing their stories. And I heard someone share about how they had less than 200 friends on Facebook, and now they're a top earner. And somebody else was sharing about how they were an introvert, and now they're a top earner. And they all started going through and sharing their different stories. And I thought, there is nothing different about them than there is me. Like, if they can be successful at this, well, then I can be successful at this too. And that's where I drew my line in the sand. And I determined in my heart, I said, I will come back this time next year and I will walk that stage as an emerald. Mind you, it had taken me 5 months to find 3 people. And I'm like, nope, we're going emerald in a year. This is happening. And I remember I made my first little vision board. I found an emerald and I put convention 2018, like I was going to be emerald by then. And so it's one of those things that I had no idea how I was going to do it, but we like to tell people that you jump and you grow your wings on the way down. The how is always going to come after you draw your line in the sand. So people always want to know, they're like, give me the steps, tell me how to do it. If you could just map out the perfect plan for me, then I could hit all of my goals. And it doesn't work that way. It starts with that belief. It starts with you going all in. It starts with you drawing your line in the sand and determining, I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm sticking with it. I have no clue how I'm going to do it, but I just know that I'm going to do it. And so I came home from convention and I had this fire in my belly. And I remember I was following different jewels and I was watching things that they were doing. And I thought, well, they're making training videos, so I should make training videos. You guys, this was before I was even gold, and I was making training videos about how to be successful in plexus. I was clueless. I had no idea, but I was watching other people's videos and I was watching the things that they were doing. And I was so hungry for this. And I was like, well, I better start showing up as that. If this is the person I want to be, let me start acting like that. And eventually I will become that. And one of my favorite stories is that there was a girl on my team. She's a sapphire now. And she joined me before I was gold. And when I was right when I had hit gold, she would introduce people to me. She would get them on the phone with me or a Zoom call. And she would say, hey, this is my friend Megan. She's about to be emerald. You guys, I was gold. And she was telling people I was about to be emerald because that's how high my belief was that this was going to happen. It was like people saw me as a jewel before I was ever a jewel because I believed it so much in my heart. And it's like, I made so many mistakes, you guys. It was like, that's how I built my business, mistake after mistake after mistake. That's how we learn. We can't let that perfection stop us. And so it's going to be messy and there's going to be things that you try and it's not going to work out the best. And you're going to show up on a Zoom call and maybe you're going to spill your pink drink all over your white shirt, just like I did on a very important VIP Zoom call very early on in my business. It was totally embarrassing and it just happened, you know? And so you just learn from these things. I don't wear white shirts anymore, you know? I keep with pink. And so I tell all of that to you guys because when you have that belief in yourself, it is like you are able to move mountains. And when I was at convention that first year, the speaker was Les Brown. And he told us to listen to this video of his every single day for the next 30 days to develop a good mindset habit by listening to this. And so I took that video and I'll send it to him. And this video, I watched almost every single day for an entire year because he said do it for 30 days. And I thought, well, I have really big goals. So I feel like I need to just continue doing this. And so I know building a habit of focusing on your mindset is absolutely essential because when you are growing a business, you're going to have hard days. There are going to be days where it's going to feel like you were sucker punched in the gut and you want to throw up and you want to die, or you just want to curl up in a ball in your bed and not do anything. And I like to call those your make it or break it moments. At every single rank from gold on, I had a big make it or break it moment. I had something that happened that could have derailed me, that could have set me back, that I could have said, you know what, this is too hard. I'm throwing in the towel. This is too hard. I just don't think that I can do it. And it was in those moments that I grew even more, because I decided to keep showing up, and that those things were not going to derail my dreams. It didn't matter what people were saying to me. Didn't matter that our old pastor's wife made me cry. It didn't matter that all of these different things were happening. It was like, I have this vision for where I want my family to go and where I want us to be. And that was my driving force. And that was more important to me. And so you have to be very proactive when it comes to your mindset, and you have to develop that habit daily, because we don't do mindset training for the days that are really good. We do mindset training for the days that are awful and the days that are terrible. It's easy to show up when you're feeling great. It's easy to show up when you've got this grateful heart and you're like, everything's working out awesome. And I earned the gift cards and I earned this incentive and I did this. But what happens on the days when you miss a prize? What happens on the days when you miss a goal that you put out there? What happens when somebody says something to you? What happens when one of your dream teamers quit? You guys, I had an entire gold leg quit on me the month I hit senior gold. That's like pretty devastating. Okay. That's like half your team. That's a really big deal. And this was a girl who said she was going to go to Hawaii with me, and she was one of my first builders. And I was so excited. And you know what? She quit on me. She lacked that belief. She quit on herself, and I lost that leg. And that's one of those make it or break it moments, you guys. That stuff is going to happen. It's kind of like a slow roller coaster ride. You know, we think that success is linear, and we want to just be like, woo, we're going all the way to the top. And like when I tell people our story and I'm like, yes, we decided we were going to go emerald in a year, and we did it. And people are like, what? That's crazy. And it's like, but you didn't see all the insanity that happened in between those moments, right? And I wish that I could tell you that as soon as we hit emerald within that year, and I walked across that stage and I did those things that I said I was going to do, then everything was perfect in my life. But you know what? That couldn't have been farther from the truth. In fact, when I hit emerald, I also hit a wall. I hit a wall of limiting belief. And so I lost rank for a while, and I had to do some really deeping, or that is not even a word, really deep digging. Okay, don't do any deeping, you guys. Dig deep. Okay, here we go. So I had to figure out what were my limiting beliefs, because I had gotten to this certain point. And then I realized if I wanted to get to the next level, if I wanted to get farther, I had to uncover what were the lies that I was believing. And I figured this out through mindset coaching. I figured this out through counseling. I'm a huge proponent of counseling and therapy. I think that everybody needs it, not just if something is going on. Like, we all have things we need to heal from, talk through, learn how to navigate. And so through counseling, I was able to figure out that my limiting belief was that I didn't believe I could have a successful business and be a great mom. And so here I had this successful business, and I felt like, oh gosh, does that mean my family's going to tank? And so I let my business tank for fear of my family. And then once I realized and uncovered that limiting belief, I was able to set some certain boundaries in place so that I felt like I could be more present with my family and more present with my business. And I just reevaluated things, and I just decided to change the way that I had been doing things before. And that's okay. You can pivot, you can change, you can reassess and say, this was working in this season, but it's not working anymore. But the starter for that was I had to uncover what those limiting beliefs were, because you live into the story that you tell yourself. And so if you have this story that you're telling yourself, but maybe you're not telling anybody else, it's just your thoughts. Well, you can't lie to yourself. Okay. Like, you know your thoughts, you know the stories that are replaying in your head. And so thoughts become things. So if you have these underlying belief issues, and you have these things that are causing you to sabotage, and you're like, I don't understand why this isn't working out. I don't understand why I can't hit this goal. I keep hitting this block. I take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, and I don't understand what is happening. Well, you've got to ask yourself, what is the story that you're telling yourself? Are you being proactive with your mindset? Are you writing out the things that you want to believe about yourself, right? Or are you just believing the lies over and over and over again? Are you making those grooves in your brain deeper and deeper and deeper, not with the positive things, but with the negative things? And the amazing thing about our brain and the way God created it is that you have the ability to rewire your brain. And so you can take those thoughts captive. And if a thought is not serving you well, you have the power to dismiss that thought. And then you have to be really intentional with rewriting that story. If you were to look at my mirrors right now in my bathroom, you would see all of these affirmations all over the place. One of them being, I have all the common sense that I need, because I really struggled with that. Like, why doesn't my brain work this way? Why am I not understanding this? And it's like, I have all the common sense that I need. It's fine, right? Another one is, I have a millionaire mind. And so there's, in different seasons, I've had different affirmations. I've had different things. I've had bright pink Post-it notes on my white cabinets in my kitchen when we were going emerald. I've had things all over the place. I have alarms set on my phone to go off to remind me of the things that I want to intentionally be thinking about. That was something that made a huge difference for us when we double ranked Sapphire and Diamond. And that month, it was like every 2 hours, I had alarms that were going off that were telling me all of these things that I wanted to intentionally think about, because that makes such a big difference. And I'm not saying that you're going to hit every single goal because you do that, or that you're going to be able to do all these wild and crazy things, but it is absolutely going to help you to get closer to where you want to be. And so, yeah, I see double rank Sapphire Diamond. Yeah, it was absolutely insanity when we did that. And so, you know, I shared where we started from, right? Where it was, I had zero work experience, like literally, unless you counted the 6 months that I worked as a barista in college. Like outside of that, I had no other work experience. So I came from a person who told my husband I was never, ever going to work, to now he calls me his sugar mama, which is hilarious to me, because I just never, ever thought that would be our life. And so, you know, we're on our 4th vision board. We have been able to cross off our vision boards 3 times over. And I am literally, the things that were once just a vision on that board are actually now our reality. You know, we paid off $100,000 in student loan debt in 15 months. So like, not only when we were going through that hard time when our kids were on Medicaid, we had this debt hanging over our heads that we felt like it was impossible. Like we felt like we couldn't dream again because of this lingering debt. We lost our ability to dream, and Plexus gave that back to us. My husband and I were able to talk about the things that we longed for, that we dreamed of, the visions that we had seen before, but then had lost because we're in survival mode. We were able to put those things to paper again. You know, another thing that we always wanted to do was we wanted to move out to Tennessee to be closer to my parents. Well, 2 years ago, we bought the house next door to my parents. And so my kids can go back and forth between my parents. It's amazing. We love it. It is such a dream come true. We wanted to always, you know, we were always renting and moving around and all over the place. And when we got settled, I always said I wanted to build my kids this massive playground, because we couldn't do that in all the other places that we lived. We had moved like 6 or 7 times in 8 years. It was crazy. And so we got settled in here. And so we were able to build them the playground. We cash flowed a pool last summer. And you guys, it's not about the things. Like, I want to make that very clear. It is not about the things, but what it represents. It represents the freedom, the options. You guys, having options is such a beautiful, beautiful thing that this business is able to offer us. And so when we are pursuing this business and we're doing these things, it gives us the freedom to have these options that we never thought possible. I mean, just back at the end of January, one of our mentors reached out to us and they said, hey, do you guys want to come on a trip to Israel with us? And Phil and I were like, well, that wasn't even on the radar for this year. Like, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. We thought we were going to maybe go to Italy the next year. And so we were like, you know what? On a whim, we were able to say yes and just pay for the trip in full, pay cash for the trip with like literally like a week's notice of when they needed that deposit by. And we're leaving on Thursday to go on a trip to Israel. We're going to do our vow renewals right there where Jesus performed his first miracle. Like, you guys, being able to say yes to those things is so worth every single sacrifice and hard moment and growth moment and all those different kinds of things. So when you are in the trenches and it feels like sometimes things are impossible, I want you to remind yourself that your dreams are possible. And you have to hold this vision for your life that you want that is bigger than your circumstances right now. When our kids were on Medicaid, we bought a URL that said Medicaid to Millions. And my husband and I said that we would write a book that's called Medicaid to Millions, and we would help people, teach them how they can get past their circumstances and get past their situations, and that they can live the life of their dreams. But we had to have a vision when we were in that difficult space to be able to see the life that we wanted. So you have to hold that vision. And it's not about the things you're going to be able to buy or any of that. It's going to be, what is that feeling that you're going after? Because that's really what it is. Everything that we do or don't do is based off of a feeling that we want or a feeling that we're trying to avoid. So when you're thinking about your goals, I don't want you to just put a Lexus on there. I don't want you to just put your dream house. I don't want you to just put a trip to Mexico or Hawaii or whatever those things are. I want you to think about, what is the feeling that I am going to have when I reach this goal? What is that going to provide for me? And then I want you guys to realize something amazing, that all of those feelings and all of those things that you think you're going to feel when you hit those goals, you can feel them now. You don't have to wait until you hit those goals. And if you start living in that feeling in this moment, and you start holding a vision for what you want in the dark days, and you have that heart of gratitude and you have that heart of joy, and you're like, these are all of the things, you write down all the emotions that you want to feel when you hit that goal, that sense of fulfillment and that you think you're going to have, and realize, I can have that every single day if I so choose it. That is so empowering, you guys. It's not going to come when you hit the rank of your dreams. It's not going to come when you get the car. It's not going to come when you move into the dream house. You get to feel that every single day, because it's about the journey. It's about the person that you are becoming along the way. It's about the lessons that you're learning, and you get to show up in full gratitude, in full joy every single day when you are working towards your dreams. So it's like you've already hit them before you've hit them, right? I had already imagined in my mind all of those things before I ever hit them, like to the full blown, like emotions, crying. Like I already knew what it was going to feel in my heart when we hit diamond. Like I knew it. And so when the moment happened, I was like, I've already been here. I've actually been experiencing this for a long time. And my points finally just caught up. Because you don't want to be waiting until you hit a certain goal or hit a certain thing to feel like then you've earned the right to feel a certain way. No. You get to feel that way every single day as you are in pursuit of your goals and dreams. And when you get there, it's just going to be icing on the cake. So that's what I have for you guys tonight.
So good. Is anybody, I'm like sweating just listening to you. Trying to write really fast. So good, Megan. That's so good. And I like how I've never heard jump and grow your wings on your way down. Like I've never heard anyone say that, but it's so true. Like, and what a blessing this business is, that we can just like learn as we go. Like we don't have to show up knowing everything. Like, I think that's the best part about what we do. Mm-hmm. So good. Does anybody have questions for Megan, I guess? I really like, so our focus this month is believing in ourselves. And I love how you talk so much about mindset, because I know that was a huge part of your story too, and doing coaching. And now you have a coaching program too yourself, right? Yeah. How long between going emerald and double ranking?
It was 2 years. So we hit emerald in May of 2018. And then I lost rank for like almost a year and had to do a lot of digging. And I actually didn't share that part of my story for a very long time. I felt like it was so vulnerable that people were just going to think like, oh, she's such a fake. I can't believe like that ever happened. And honestly, that's probably been like the biggest part of my story that has touched people, because they're like, oh my goodness, like she had struggles too, even though she had this great story, like she's had to uncover other things. So we hit it in May of 2018, and then we hit Sapphire and Diamond May 2020.
Awesome. I caught I don't know if it was like a coaching call you did with somebody, but you had talked about how Jessica Heffley like talked you through like, oh, how was it? Like that you had that mindset of like, wish I could remember exactly what it was. It was so good. I'll find it in my email and share it with you guys too, because it was really good. I'm losing my train of thought of what it was about, but.
Hey, Meg, my question is, you had mentioned, well, this is something you didn't actually talk a whole lot about, but like you and your mom are doing this business together. And I know that we have a few women on our team who have their moms as customers, or moms are, maybe interested in starting the business. So go and check out Meg, and you can check out her mom. Her mom's name is Cheryl Mueller. She is hilarious. She's got like the most amazing New Jersey accent. And if I could have legs like her, even right now, like I would be so happy. Like she's amazing. Anyhow, so that's one side of Megan's story that's really inspiring. But one of the things that there's kind of a gap, you had mentioned like, you were really skeptical, like you guys were making fun of Plexus, and then you joined. So do you want to just share real quickly? I know you have Alita pouring into you, but real quickly, what was that turning point for you when you decided to start the products after being so skeptical?
So my mom had jumped on right away after Floyd passed away to order the products to support Alita. And so that was just like one of the things that she was like, I'm just committed to ordering. I know this is going to help you, and all this kind of stuff. And so she came down, she had been on them for about like 5 or 6 months, and we were living in Florida at the time. And so she came down to visit us, and her shorts were loose on her. And she only realized, like, she didn't know until she came down to see us, because who wears shorts in November? And so she was like, oh guys, look, she's like, my shorts are so loose. And my husband was like, looked at her and was like, are you defending Plexus? He was like, I'm sorry. I thought we made fun of that. And she was like, well, I'm just saying, like, you guys should probably give it a try. And so I was like, you know what, mom, here, just order it for us. I gave her my card. I gave her my information, and she ordered it under the wrong Cheryl Mueller. And we didn't know for like 2 or 3 months, because she wasn't really doing the business. I wasn't doing the business. Nobody knew what was happening until she realized, like, I still don't see her back here. And we realized there was another Cheryl Mueller. And so it was one of those things, like she actually watched the kids for me while I went out to convention to do that. And so she would always tell people, she'd be like, my number one tip for growing a business is find yourself a runner. She's like, when you have a runner, it's working so great. And so it took her a little bit longer to kind of come around to the business side of things. But she was able to retire out of her CPA business that she had for like 30 years. And I think she makes like quadruple the amount of money now that she used to make as a CPA. And so she always tells people, like, she just turned 60. She's like the sexiest 60-year-old I've ever seen. And she always tells people, like, you're never too old to dream again. She's like, she's basically reinvented herself over these last 6 years with Plexus. And it's been so fun to watch. And it's so fun. Like, we get to travel every single year together to Hawaii and to Mexico. And like, it's the best that we get to do this. And so one of those things is, I know for people who are older, it's like, okay, well, maybe they're heading into retirement, right? And then funds are limited. That's how it was for my parents. Like, they moved down here because my dad had retired, and they were on a fixed income because of his retirement. And so she retired out of her CPA business, and now she has Plexus full-time, which is, part-time hours, full-time income. And they're able to do all of the things that they dreamed of doing out here that they never could do before. We've been able to buy my dad tractors and do all this crazy kind of stuff that just was like not possible before. And so you can reinvent yourself at any age. Like, you're never too old to dream. You're never too young to dream. It is truly a business opportunity for every age in between.
Well, thank you, Meg. Lace, do you want to close it out? We love you so much, Megan.
Thank you so much, Megan. We so appreciate this. I think you inspired a lot of people. Sure had the comments blowing up.
Well, thank you guys. We'll stay on for accountability group. So if you're in accountability group, stay on, and then we'll transition to book study real quick after that. So take a second to get your water if you need to, and then we'll just transition real quick.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Megan. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is so interesting because I was going to just spend just a second. Let me actually stop recording. Hold, please.